Ladies and gentlemen, seeing you numerous today, ready to dive in the nuclear for peaceful purposes, gives me energy. And that's what we need at everyday basis, right? Sometimes we get it from a vitamin pill. You can see a random one at the black background. Sometimes we harness it from the nuclear fuel pellet, the one that is on the white background. Working a quarter in the nuclear industry, very often people, friends, colleagues, they were coming to me asking me, hey Katya, how this works like, how it looks like. And I perceived that nuclear, when people think about it, most probably, naturally it comes to see it in black and white. That's why I came up with this nuclear pill theory, black and white. And why I'm in front of you today? Because I believe that more information you have, more confident, equipped with facts you are, that's how you're not going to think about nuclear in black and white. You're going to see the rest of the colors of the palette. And you're not going to judge it or think about it on the basis of your emotions, but on the basis of the facts. And here I am, standing in front of you in Sofia, holding in my hand that small black pill, that uranium fuel pellet. And I have in my hand 1 ton of coal. Is it because I go to gym every day? Is it because I'm Hulk? No, definitely green I'm not. It is because of the energy density of this fuel. It equals also to 564 liters of oil, and to impress you even more, to 480 cubic meters of natural gas. I'm a mother of a baby girl, sitting there, grown up enough, not baby anymore, to commute from Vienna to Sofia to be here to support her mother. And for those of you that see the eyelashes of the elephant, perhaps you recognize, yes, this is the same shirt from that photo. It was in the late 90s where I pursued my engineering degree here in Sofia at the Technical University. Very difficult financial years for a family like mine from the so-called, at that time, middle class. But I was blessed with a personal tailor. And it's not Gucci, it's not Armani, it was my auntie. That family helped me, supported me, even if they expected different. My mom expected me to become a doctor because she was a nurse. I never asked my father about what his expectations are. I grew up at the beautiful town Lom at the Danube. And you can imagine, how just opposite was even the nature in the United Arab Emirates. What you see on the other part of that photo are the 4 reactors constructed at one single place, one site, how we call it in the nuclear, at Baraka nuclear power plant. And yes, I was there. I was there like the first Bulgarian, Italian female engineer at that plant, at that site, for about a decade. I was there during the most important part of a life of a nuclear power plant, the transition between construction and operation. Construction is when it is a chaos. It's like a site with workers, machine, and every day you see those buildings grow up. And when comes the moment to push the button, the feeling is incredible. What was For me, something that I missed a little bit during my education as an engineer that I want to give to you, to understand who is who in the nuclear industry. Because how could you understand an industry if you don't know who is responsible for what? We have the state, the country. At state level, decisions are taken. Decision is taken to have a nuclear program in a country. With the law for peaceful purposes, in a country that decides to have nuclear, the regulator is established. The regulator sets the rules, checks if the rules are kept, and of course makes sanctions if there are such cases of not keeping the rules. The nuclear operator. This is the nuclear power plant, the one that you saw in the photo. It has only one main primary responsibility, and this is to produce electricity without causing undue harm to people and the environment today and for the future generations. And then there are the organizations, the people, we, as general public, the organizations in the local communities, the non-governmental organizations. You're going to say, well, who's going to come and ask me about nuclear? No, guys, here you think in a wrong way. And I'm going to give you an example. Italy, 1986, Chernobyl. The next year, there was a referendum, and Italians said no to nuclear. Their existing nuclear power plants were shut down, and yet they had electricity. From where? From France. This is a very nice number. How much do you think an average person needs electricity, amount of electricity, for his or her lifespan? 235,000 kilowatt hours. It is produced in thermal power plants, renewables, wind and solar, as well as in the nuclear power plants. And what is important is that the nuclear keeps the so-called base load. The other nice photo that I put here for you is open core of a reactor. This is the so-called Chernenkov effect. Nuclear didn't start with Katya, and will not finish with Katya. It started with other brave women. One of them, Lise Meitner. She was the first woman that described scientifically the fission process. How we bombard atoms of heavy elements, they split. There are other particles that bombard the next to them heavy atoms, and energy is released. Where this energy goes? So here you can see a quite complicated scheme, but don't worry, that's why I'm here for you. In the core are these small guys, lined up in few rods, in few assemblies forming the core, where the fission takes place. Around, in this case, it's a pressurized water reactor. Water is around. It will bring this energy to the steam generator. There, it's going to be exchanged, and steam is going to be produced. Why we need the steam? Because somebody has to turn the turbine. And why we need to turn the turbine? Because it is on the same shaft with the electrical generator. And here we go. Ta-da-da! We have electricity. If you just decide to shop for reactors, go at International Atomic Energy Agency database, ARIS, which is publicly available. There you can see the description of most of the reactors, large and small. If you want to play like the gamers, go again to the IAEA nuclear reactor simulators for education and training. I told you about the lifespan of the nuclear power plant, and yes, it starts with planning and design, the vendors that design for us the nuclear technologies. Then the state chooses what technology to have in the country. Construction starts. Prior construction, the regulator has to give the most important license, the license for operation. We operate the reactors for 40 to 60 years, with the ambition one day to be able to operate them for 80 years. After that, decommissioning starts. But because of running out of time, decommissioning is gonna be a topic for another TED Talk, like the 1001 fairy tales of Scheherazade. There is something in the nuclear that is typical for the nuclear. And no, these are not the beautiful ladies. It is something that you can't see, you can't hear, you can't touch, you can't smell, but it is there. And no, it is not your wife that is buying herself Ferrari with the money of your common bank account. It's something more. It's the radiation. How we deal with it? With three things: timing, distance, and shielding. Example, you go for an X-ray. They give you a lead apron. Why? To protect the organs that don't need any radiation. You're gonna say, well, nuclear brings us radiation. No. Wrong guess. The average public exposure by radiation sources, artificial ones, because we have the natural one, taking a flight, a long intercontinental flight, gives you a radiation dose as well. Among the artificial sources, the nuclear power plant is the one that contributes less. And today, the first speaker of the day opening TED this morning, Stoyan, has a birthday tomorrow, right? 8th of March. And I said, what a lovely occasion to bring him a cake. And I brought him a yellow cake. The one with the strawberries is for Stoyan. The one without the strawberries goes here. This is what we mine from the mining. After that, we enrich, we form in a pellet, and here we are, ready to load the core. Another question that people were asking me very often: okay, the party starts, you load the core, you produce electricity, and after that, what happens with the so-called spent nuclear fuel? And I'm honest with you, we have 320,000 tons of spent fuel that is in storage worldwide. So far in two ways: wet storage or dry storage. You remember the time, the distance, and the shielding. The spent fuel, first we put it in the spent fuel pool underwater for shielding and cooling, and after that, one of the options is in these concrete cylinders, which again play the role of shielding. And yeah, I know, nuclear is cool. And when I say that, in some of you, I know what the brain brings could be Homer Simpson. It could be, but it is cool because it is reliable, resilient, and it brings us clean and sustainable energy. I started with my family and their expectations. I imagine for them it was hard to see a girl pursuing engineering. One of the purposes of my talk today is to prepare you not only to take your own position what nuclear is, but also when tomorrow, not if, when tomorrow, your daughter comes and says, Mommy, Daddy, you know what? I watched that TED talk of Katya, and I want to become like Katya when I grow up. You will not be scared. You saw me, a mother, an engineer, standing in front of you. Inspired by women, another one, Marie Curie. She used to say, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that we may fear less. Thank you for your attention.